Would you let your girl have her own podcast, but she's like recording with other in her bed? Like, would you let your girl do that?
Yeah. It's making me money now. Look at this guy. So you think I'm giving up money for?
So sure, let me ask you a question. Based off what he said, right? Your girls, as long as your girl's making you money, right?
Then it's fine whatever she does. Is that what you're gonna say?
So then you know where I'm going with this.
That's so far fetched.
Adam 22.
No.
That's so far fetched.
I find it interesting when guys do this whole like, my girl's bad. Look at her. It's like, I think it's cool for to like accept your partner or your spouse, whatever, but to seek validation and be like, look how bad my girl. Like, that's where niggas find themselves in hot water, because the moment you start not even asking, but the moment you put yourself in a position where you're demanding validation about how your partner looks and stuff like that, because it makes you feel good, like, yeah, I'm the baddest bitch because all my say she's bad and all this, it creates a problem. Because what happens, let's be honest, right? I'm gonna marry this girl, God willing,
and it's recorded.
And she's
so if you don't remember that, God heard it.
It's on the camera. We'll show it to
you. You are now listening to the BlackerTheBerry, the sweeter the juice.
Let's record it.
Your name now. You just say your name. What the? Oh my God, this guy. So DX, and then you say I'm sure.
This nigga, you're like, you want the best of three worlds. Like
you're scared. Now I understand why the girls are running away. Because all this time I've been thinking girls are crazy. Now it makes sense. Keyshawn.
See, is this not how you're supposed to do it? Or I gotta be further back, eh? I'm not technical like you tech savvy guys, I'm a very simple type of guy,
Don't you making it worse?
Is this not how it's supposed to be like this? See how Shere's is a little back from him?
No, it's you it's the way you pointed the distance. It's the way you pointed it, that's why.
Okay, so this is a good distance right here. So you want it to be like this?
Yeah.
Not like this?
Yeah.
Like this?
Yes.
Okay. Alright.
Just molesting the mic.
You guys see that podcast? With Drake and that one girl where she has like podcasts with niggas in her bed, so they're all comfortable like this.
Yeah.
You ain't see that?
Yeah, I saw.
You know what's funny
about it yesterday?
You know what's funny about that girl? She's the same one who made this. She broke the internet, bro. So what happened was she made this video where she pretended to be at a hotel. Oh shoot, the mic's a bit far. Right? She pretended to be at a hotel, right? And she's like recording with her kid, and she was like, the whole premise of the video was like, her husband's not making them enough money and they can't go on vacation, so she like stole her husband's credit card, booked a vacation for her and her kid, and charged like $20,000 or some absurd number to the credit card, and was like, yeah, if you're seeing this, husband, you need to make more money. And like red pill niggas took that and ran with it. They're like,
oh, is that how she blew up?
Yeah, this is why you guys need to watch your women. And the red pill niggas just took it and ran. But what's funny is I saw that video like a while back ago, right? And lo and behold, my girlfriend watches her TikToks, and I was like, oh, it's that girl. Oh my gosh, I hate her. Like, she did this one thing to her husband, and she was like, John,
it was a prank.
It's a prank.
Look at you. You joined.
All of her content is like that. Like her whole thing on TikTok is to have these jokes, but have like a very like dry, like a very dry humor.
And look at you, you fell in the
I was
trap.
like, oh my, no, because bro, if you saw
because you sense, go and check. See, instead of you to go and check her content, I didn't see who she is. You're hating someone you don't know.
Okay, now hate was a strong word. Let me. I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, I don't really like that girl. Like I saw one of, but then she was like, yeah, you need to like look at her other content. Now, mind you, if you saw the video, it was one of these things where you saw it and like it just kind of gave you that knee jerk reaction, which obviously I think that's the point of her videos, and that's what it did. Also, at that time when I saw the video, I wasn't on TikTok. Like I didn't know people like did this as like a thing. I just thought it was some random video. Like what do I know?
One of those.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I thought it was really funny. But anyway, yeah, she has a podcast now where she like does podcasts with people in their bed, and they're all like with the blanket and stuff. So anyway, yeah. I just thought that was so funny.
This guy.
I'm excited to introduce.
Well, anyways, welcome to another special episode, guys. I'm your host, DX.
Ripping the cut, you know what it
As
is.
you can tell, we've got the man with the story. our extra berry.
What's up,
Introduce
guys?
yourself.
What's going on? John, look at you. We're back, Mr. Fully Flavored. These guys have been on my tail for their cake jars, but those are coming back real soon, man.
Okay.
So yeah.
Sponsored by Fully Flavored. You feel me?
Sponsored.
Yeah.
No, I like her stuff. Like I like people that do stuff based on themselves. As
Yeah.
in they're not forcing anything.
There is something I have to mention though.
Like what?
Look, I don't like to judge people, but you know there are people where you see their face and you just get annoyed. She had one of those faces.
Oh,
where
she
you,
does.
If you saw her face, right?
I'm not saying she doesn't.
If you just see her face and then you saw the video, it just makes you mad. You know, you know what I'm saying? But I was educated. You know, I realized, okay, this is her dry sense of humor. Even when she was interviewing Drake, right? If you see the interview, it's really awkward.
It's so awkward.
Because Drake is trying to be like, oh yeah, you've never heard my music before. Oh, have you ever heard Tyga's music before? And she's like, no, I haven't.
Yeah.
No, Drake is an awkward
I
guy
haven't.
as well. In my opinion, Sha, Drake is an awkward guy as well. So I think that interview was good based on it works for them.
Yeah.
Like I don't like seeing Drake on like any interview where it requires him to like talk.
Would you let your girl have her own podcast, but she's like recording with other niggas in her bed? Like, would you let your girl do that?
Yeah. It's making me money now. Look at this guy.
So
you think I'm giving up money for?
So sure, let me ask you a question. Based off what he said, right? Your girls, as long as your girl's making you money, right?
Then it's fine, whatever she does. Is that what you're gonna say?
So then you know where I'm going with this.
That's so far fetched.
Adam 22.
No.
That's so far fetched. That's so far fetched.
You know what I'm saying? You didn't
What,
put
me?
it in the box. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't really.
No,
you didn't
he
put
told
it,
me.
You
I
didn't.
got you.
You didn't put it in.
Actually, no, he put it in the box.
You didn't
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I played in the box.
No, but then
and
you
also
said
hold on.
But then you
no, hold
said
on now. No, because
you
it's context.
As long as you said, am I
No,
gonna pass
because
up money?
the context, unless you're trying to snag me, the
Yeah, he's
context
trying to
is
snag-
the context is based on the story we're talking about. So if it's based on the story we're talking about, yeah, like the only issue I would have, like people would look for, is that she's recording with someone that's deemed as a superstar. That's the only issue someone would have.
Yeah.
I
personally, for me, I don't think I would have a big issue with, you know, my wife's career, whatever she would choose. But I think it just has to match my lifestyle. Like, I can't be with. I don't think I could be with someone who they have, like, their lifestyle is just not on the same frequency as mine. Whether they go out a lot and I don't, or I go out a lot and they don't. Like, I think
exactly.
The
So because the thing is that
match.
when people answer these questions, they didn't answer based on. You asked me if my girlfriend was to do something, would I let her? She's my girlfriend because I chose her based on what I like about her and her situation. And in my situation, I would be honest with whoever I am with. So whatever the case, I am already comfortable with who she is. So even if it's like, for example, even if we're to extend it to this Adam 22 situation, if she is my girlfriend, that means I've come to the terms that she's a porn star. So I have to accept whatever she does because I accepted it in the beginning.
Interesting.
You know?
That's interesting.
Right, see, I'm smarter than you think, bro.
No, see, one thing I
Smarter than you
found
think.
interesting about the Adam 22 situation is, so when I first saw it, right, niggas are ripping into him. Oh, he's letting this girl get fucked. Oh, he's a cuck. This, right? And I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, if you're married to her, why are you letting her just like fuck another nigga? Like, you know. And then I realized, okay, she's in the porn industry. But then on top of that, I also realized this nigga be fucking other girls too.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, why are people making it a big deal? Like, I never understood why people made it a big deal if he's also sleeping with other women and her, then she sleeps with another guy. Like, if they're both sleeping around, I mean, why is the internet up in arms? And I think the whole point about it was, I think when he's sleeping around, he still sleeps around with his wife, so they're having threesomes, versus this was just the wife and another guy. I think that's why the internet was up in arms. But I mean, even that doesn't matter. They're both sleeping outside of their marriage. So
the issue with the issue that people are having is they're putting themselves in his shoes, right? Mm. They're not looking at it as this is his, like, he's showing us his life. If you put yourself in his shoes, you have a problem with it. Yeah. Because in the first place, you would never have dated a porn star. Mm. You would never have agreed to do a podcast where you're interviewing other porn stars and having sex with them. You would never have done that. So when you're putting yourself in his shoes, you have an issue with it.
That's fair.
You don't have an issue with him. That's what people, and you know how people are. They don't think straight, and just, keyboard warriors, bro. So really.
Still weird.
No, it is weird, but it's not something that you would get vexed at.
Yeah, because you're not. That would never be a situation for you, realistically.
Exactly. It's not something
that's why, like, at the end of the day, remember, you made so much money off. That's why you can buy her yours, because it's just like this.
Yeah, he bought her some nice whip. Yeah,
right? Traction is traction, regardless of if it's negative or not. He's still making money off of it. All the niggas that were flaming him went to go watch the video. Bruh. They paid to go watch it.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
So it's like.
Bro,
yeah.
But then, and you don't know if to add to that is a lot of these people would also want to sleep with her too.
1000%.
So now, who's now different between you and Adam?
It's true, man. Like you said, I think it's kind of like what you were saying about, like, the whole, like, when it's the guy, it's okay, right?
When it's the girl, it's
double
not.
Standard it plays into this whole. Oh, like, you're letting your girl get fucked. Like you said,
yeah.
You're saying, when you said it in the rappers say it in their songs, they don't say, I fucked this girl, I fucked this nigga's bitch.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like that whole thing, especially for a lot of the guys, it's this ego thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about it all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, kind of like what Docs was saying, it's like, you're acting as if you're Adam, and it's like, oh, I would never let my girl get fucked by another nigga, right?
Yeah.
So I think that also plays into it. That's why especially if you see a lot of the comments are from guys like, oh, this guy's a cuck, like this guy's
Yeah. 100%. I don't know. I think that it's weird if you're gonna complain about one thing, but you're also doing the same thing, and it's just it's very pointless. Like, there's no point. You might as well just keep it a buck. Like, if he's doing something and she's doing something, nigga, if you're both doing the same thing, the internet really shouldn't be talking. But that's the double standard again, right? That people complain about. So
yeah, the internet is funny, man. And the funny thing is, it's not just the internet. It's also like people around you as well. You start to see, like, how they are with certain situations, like something that has nothing to do with you. You're up in arms.
It's true. It's true.
Even like delving into the Keke and Usher situation, you're up in arms, bro. How are you up in arms? And also, like, there was now a video of, like, afterwards, I think it was either Shade Room or Shade Bar, of her. She was at one concert and she was singing, I don't know if it's a song or she made up some lyrics just to come back at the situation. And I'm just thinking to myself, guys, like, bro, this person is just making money on top of your own vex.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, making, and then on top of that, it's like, okay, now let's forget about her and her situation. You guys that have now done this all, like, you've created palaver based on someone's situation. You've now made other people's experience not as great. Because there are girls that are probably now going to the Usher concert, rather than feeling free to dance as they were before the Keke. Now you're getting a lot of people that are, like, trying to shun him, or like trying to, like, put up a front for the sake of the internet.
Yeah.
Now those celebrities can't be as free as they wanted to in the first place.
See, my whole issue with the thing isn't even, like, other people's reaction. It's actually how the boyfriend / husband / the baby of the father was behaving. Because at first I was like, okay, if the nigga feels some type of way about what his girl was wearing, he's entitled to how he feels. If that's how he feels, But should the nigga be airing it on the internet? no, that's too much. But also, I think it was either on his Twitter feed or his Instagram. I can't remember where it was, but he had a video of her like twerking, and he posted, and he's like, "Oh, my girl looks bad" or something. So it's like, nigga, that's what I don't get. Why are niggas doing this whole I'm gonna flaunt my girl's body how I want to, but you know,
like people are right.
That's so my question. My question
sense.
to you is like when you say like you're talking about palaver, like vexing. What exactly do you mean? Because are you saying in the sense where like what realistically is like somebody through a screen doing more than posting on Twitter about it? Is that not the same thing? Like we're having this conversation on the podcast. Is that not the same thing? Like, are we not allowed to like express ourselves and have our opinions on situations? What are they realistically affecting? Because what's the difference between what they're doing, unless you're talking about something else, right? What's the difference between what they're doing and us talking about it right now? You get
okay. The The similarity is that we're both having our opinions and we're free to have our opinions. The difference is I'm not sitting here saying that she's wrong or he's wrong. I'm just objectively looking at the situation and detailing how I see it.
I'm saying he's wrong.
But then this is where we have the discussion of personally, there's so many different ways you can look at it. Because if you're saying he's wrong, you're saying he's wrong based on him coming publicly?
No, not necessarily. Him coming publicly is how he came publicly is definitely wrong about it.
Yeah.
But two, I just think the thought process behind everything, because again, right, if I am a single man and I pursue a woman, no man pursues a woman without knowing who she is, unless you're foolish.
That's where you're wrong.
Niggas who
Nick, you're talking about something that should be.
Not that necessarily is, but
that's what I'm looking. I'm looking at what's happened. I'm looking at someone that has, for example, I'm looking at for example, when someone's now told me about this Keke situation and told me about what do I think of his reaction. His reaction based on my opinions is that, bro, you chose this life. Why are you vexed now? And also, you post her pretty much naked. You've posted her like with her post on your own feed pretty much naked. You've posted her twerking. You've posted her in sexual connotations. Now that the internet has, because the thing is, I was also listening to something else and they were talking about that it could also have been a thing where he may have not actually had an issue with it instantly, but when your boys come and say, "Yo, have you seen your girl? I wouldn't do that for you." That could also be the case.
That's an issue, but that's kind of where I'm saying where it's not just the fact that he said those things publicly, it's the thought process, right? Like it's not like he got with her and they were together for like a month and he's saying that, like, if you two have a child together, you have at least been talking for 9 months. Yeah. At least not. So you should know her well enough that, okay, this is the type of woman that she is, and you have one of two options. You either A, buy into the type of woman she is and you want to build a future with that, or you say, no, like, this is not for me. It was cool to get to know you. I've gotten to know you. I don't want to be with you, right? But you can't then get to know someone, whether or not you have the child with them or not, but you're with them for that duration of time, and then you're now doing this whole, you can't be dressing like this. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, it doesn't work like that because you're not being fair to them, because you didn't establish this at the beginning, like, okay, we're getting together, I need you to change, which if you presented that option to most people, they would probably leave. It's this whole, you got with her, you got to know who she was, and then all of a sudden you're wanting her to change. That's not exactly fair to her, but it's also not exactly fair to the relationship that you're trying to build, right?
I don't even think it's that he wanted her to change. I just think that he went into, like, this is also part of what could have happened. I just think this is someone that wants Keke Palmer and does not understand who Keke Palmer is. Yeah. He's now got with her, and then his wants has now come up, like, I actually do not want my girl to be dressing this way. But it's too late. You've chose Keke Palmer. She is in that sphere where she dresses this way. Yeah. Like you wanted this girl, but you didn't know what that came with. No, you saw what came with. It's just that you chose to ignore it because you want this girl. That's why, like, it goes back to your discipline. Like, when, like, a lot of guys are not disciplined enough to say, I don't want this, so I'm gonna give up chasing this girl.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you don't, bro, stop chasing Yash, bro. like, I'm being so serious. Like, do you know how, stop chasing it, because, bro, like, it's gonna get you nowhere. It's gonna get you in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Because you were happy when, and this is the thing with the internet. This is two sides. So, because you're sharing it on your social media, you're forgetting you're sharing it publicly. Mm-hmm. Your social media is not private. Mm-hmm. If you, like, this is the argument a lot of people make, and this is girls and guys. You say, oh, I share it on my social media. I have the right to do it. I have the right to share on my social media. It's my page. I do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, fine. Or you say, oh, I liked the picture. I wanted to take the picture. I like taking the picture. I like taking picture or video of whatever it is, be it your, like, the way you're dressed and it's slightly sexy to you, but you're now forgetting that if you wanted it and you're doing it for you, you also, Instagram gives you the option of being private. Mm-hmm. You also have the option of keeping it on your phone. Mm-hmm. If you keep on your phone, it doesn't mean you're not gonna see it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If for the sake of storage, bro, there's Google Drives. Alright guys, quick interruption. Make sure you go check out the audio as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to the audio. Make sure you follow us there and also rate. So 5 stars, please, 5 stars. That will help us actually get to be seen more. And also share it with your friends, family, whoever as well. But yeah, back to the show, guys. Like a lot of people just make excuses for a bunch of rubbish. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, even like with girls, I wear certain outfits and then they're like even some of my friends, I ask them, why do you post that? And why are you now surprised people are coming for you? Or you say, why guys so thirsty or whatever. I'm just like, okay, why did you take the picture then? Yeah, I wanted to. I was taking it for myself. I'm not dressing for anyone. I'm dressing for myself. Oh yeah, and I'll keep the photo to yourself.
That's an interesting take.
Do you know what I'm saying? So even with him, like, him having a problem with her now being outside of his own domain, where she's now dressing a certain way, outside of his domain, outside of his control, because his control, perceived control, is him taking the video and posting it on his socials, right? That's his control, because a lot of this comes down to controlling, right? But now that she's outside of your control, outside of your vicinity, not just that, she's now with higher celeb. Your ego is shaking.
I was just about to mention that a lot of people were speculating that it's not even the outfit that she wore that got him touched. It's that, she's Usher, like, who is this nigga Usher? So it's like, it's that whole kind of like hierarchy, like, okay, this nigga's bigger than me, he's better than me, he's got a deeper bag than me, like, he rolls deeper than me, like, he could steal my girl, that kind of type
but
of
then
thing, which is kind of dumb. It's dumb to think about. It's
so dumb because I'm just like, you sense, even if he was to steal your girl, he'd have done it ages ago. It's not at his show in front of everyone that he's going to do it.
Yeah, he would have.
He's also been doing this for such a long time.
Yeah,
he does this to everyone's babe, bro.
So it's
everyone's babe. The only difference is that your babe is a lot more of a public figure. Mm-hmm. Look at Chris Brown that's been doing this to just normal babes. Chris Brown is the one that gets flack. The girls don't really get that much flack just because they're not that known. Yeah. Right. Obviously, their boyfriends will get the issues from all the other guys and people, but like it's not as grand as you chose to date. And also, Keke Palmer and Usher are in a certain career. They're in a certain demographic that works. If he as a singer comes to her as a singer, gives her the mic to sing his song that she very well knows, and also she's probably been a fan of, because how long has Usher been in the game? Usher's been here for time. The song that he's giving her to sing, this is a song that she was probably a child and she was a fan of Usher. Yeah. Bro, cool your ego down, bro. Because you, Seth, you also know the lyrics.
It's true.
Bro, you know the lyrics. I don't know why you're acting like. Do you get what I'm saying?
What would you do in this situation?
Me?
Yeah.
Again, if I chose to be with Keke Palmer, I'll understand she's a celebrity. She's a singer. The only issue I have would be, let's say, like, the dressing. But then I just don't like this BBL fashion, and I would have made that thing to her. And if it was something that is continuous and it's almost like you're ignoring my own opinions of what I want from you, because you also have what you expect from me, right? I'm not disputing that, but if you're like discarding my opinions of what I want from you, then I wouldn't have been in that situation to be there. But if I am there, I would have accepted the situation.
That's fair. I think there's a lot of high expectations from like in a male and female relationship, or just like your stereotypical relationship where each person expects the other to be okay with whatever is happening, but then they also expect some like deep understand, like, oh, they'll understand, they should understand, like they should be okay with this. But then at the same time, they're also in this position where, how could they do this to me? Like, why would they choose to? So it's a very interesting dynamic where we always assume we come off clear to others, but then we fail to try to understand other people in the best way possible, right? Like, I'll say, people will be like, oh, why would you ever let your girl wear that? And then you'll feel some type of way about it. But it's like, you guys should be on the same page. You shouldn't have these crazy exceptions. Oh, you can't wear this, you can't wear that, you can't do this. But then at the same time, she should never expect you, or she should never have this expectation of, oh, I can wear whatever I want. Like, there needs to be that mutual agreement where, there's some things that the nigga's not going to be comfortable with, and that's okay. And then there are certain things that you're not going to be comfortable with your nigga doing, saying, acting, and that's okay. Like, but one thing I noticed is people want to eat their cake and have it too. They want to be able to do whatever they want, but then the person they're in the relationship with, they can't also have that same attitude, and I think it's really poor. Even with the guy, I don't even, what's the guy's name?
Who?
My
boyfriend.
Yeah, what's her?
No one knows this guy. Oh my god, no one knows this guy. Bro.
One thing I find funny is when you're talking about control and posting like your partner and stuff like that. I find it interesting when guys do this whole like, nigga, my girl's bad, look at her. It's like, I think it's cool for niggas to like accept your partner or your spouse, whatever, but to seek validation and be like, nigga, look how bad my girl, like, that's where niggas find themselves in hot water, because the moment you start not even asking, but the moment you put yourself in a position where you're demanding validation about how your partner looks and stuff like that, because it makes you feel good, like, I'm with the baddest bitch because all my niggas say she's bad and all this, it creates a problem. Because what happens when your niggas' opinions change? Your own self-reflection, your self-worth, your self-image is going to change. And then all of a sudden, you're going to start getting mad at your partner for no reason. And it's like, but you're only getting mad at your partner because your niggas are saying that shit, right? So it's like, sometimes when it comes to like self-control, sometimes it's more about, you need to tone things down. You need to stop looking for self-validation from your niggas and start actually just valuing your spouse, your boyfriend, whatever. Like, I can guarantee you, if the nigga just valued Keke Palmer for who she was and wasn't doing this whole, I'm gonna record my girl because she's Keke Palmer and she's bad, and he was just like, okay, cool, like, this is who I'm with, I'm happy I'm with her, maybe he might have felt some type of way with the whole Usher shit, but he probably is not gonna be online blasting the mother of his kid. Like, nigga, your kid's gonna look back at this in 10 years and be like, yo, what the hell just happened? So,
bro, your kid's probably gonna be singing Usher songs too.
but isn't what you're saying, like what you're saying now, doesn't that counter your initial argument about getting with the person and accepting them for who they are?
No, there's a level to it.
There's
what he said is that there needs to be mutual understanding and respect.
Like, if I know so let's say I get with a girl that I know she goes out periodically, right? I'm not a going out person, but I got with her, right? And it's not like her lifestyle was so far removed from mine, right? It wasn't that bad, right? But let's say she wants to increase how much she goes out, and I know that's just not for me. What I'm saying is there has to be some sort of understanding, because she does have the right to do whatever she wants. If she wants to go out, she wants to wear whatever, she does have that right to do it, right? But if you're in a relationship with somebody, you should try to work on some sort of compromise. Maybe she says, look, okay, I want to go out every night, which obviously we know people don't just say they want to go out every night, but just for the sake of this example, right? You might say, okay, look, I know that's what you want to do, but I'm not totally comfortable with that. Can we find the middle ground that maybe you go out like four days a night, something like that? And if obviously it's not going out is not the prime example, but that's the compromise that you're looking for. What I'm saying is you can accept someone for who they are, but you can still look to compromise on areas that you guys might potentially butt heads in. That's basically.
You also have to realize, like, you being single is different from you being in a relationship.
100%.
A relationship is something that two people come together to become.
Well, that's what you would hope. I don't.
No, I'm saying I'm talking about what's prescribed. Like,
yeah,
this is what a relationship is. A relationship is the two of you. Being single is one of you. When you're working with two people, it's a different environment. You on your own, that's 100% of being single. You and someone else in a relationship, you are 50% of something of its totality. So whatever characteristics I have, I can't make my relationship 100% of my characteristics. Otherwise, I'm not in a relationship then. I'm just being single with just someone tagging along. So like when it comes to like accepting who they are, you're like, okay, cool. If I'm someone that's reserved, you go out this much. I know that's what you do, but I'm choosing you because I've thought about that. I'm like, I'm okay with how much you're going out right now. But you also should realize that he doesn't go out that much. Because I also like him too and I'm choosing him, let me do what he likes. The same way you might even say, okay, I'll try and come out sometimes too. Because now what happens is that you guys in that relationship are different people to when you were single. You that didn't go out as much, in that relationship, you're now going out a little bit more. Her that was going out before, she's now going out a little bit less. Yeah. You're now you're functioning in that relationship. Whereas that doesn't mean that you're not accepting who they are. Right? It's just you are now building something different. And, bro, all this independent shit, like and it's not just towards girls, guys as well. Everyone wants to be themselves in a relationship. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, bro.
I think people, the reason why people struggle with that in relationships is I truly think that people lack that autonomy in their early teen years, right? So like you're told what to do up until maybe you're 18, and then you get the taste of freedom, right? You can basically do whatever you want. And I think it's really hard to go from that to all of a sudden you're in a relationship with someone and they're used to doing whatever they want. So that's where there's a lot of headbutting, which is why I think, of course, it's not like I looked at a graph or any study, but which is why I think like maybe dating later in life tends to do better for people because they're able to kind of go through the mud of like figuring out what it means to be totally independent and in a relationship where you're dependent on somebody, and then in a relationship where you are actually joining something together, right? Because when you're in a relationship with your parents, you're dependent on them, versus when you are independent, you can do whatever you want. And then there's the relationships where you're dating someone where you guys have to come to agreements on certain things. So I think when you kind of sample each one in from your early years all the way up into your late teens, even into your mid-20s, I think after you get through those things, that's when people tend to get into more successful long-term relationships because they've had a taste of that kind of
time
stuff
as well.
To
experience things and experience, like you have the time to like know yourself as well, right? Because a lot of people get into relationships. We literally talked about in the last episode. People get into relationships and they don't know who they are. So it's like you go into a relationship, you're with this person, and then you start projecting all this bullshit that you didn't even know that you had within yourself because you haven't dealt with it. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with that. But it's actually funny because you're talking about this because I literally saw a video yesterday on my TikTok and it was like a skit, and it was essentially like the girl was saying, her girls were like, "Oh, let's go out tonight," and she was like, "Oh, let me ask my boyfriend." And they
had an issue with that view.
But yeah, he was like, "Oh, like he doesn't want her to go out," and then all the girls in the comments were like raise eyebrow. I'm like, and from my perspective, I didn't see the problem with him not wanting to go out.
Yeah.
But they were all like, cause who does he think he is?
Boyfriend.
Like I'm so confused. Like, does he? You see what I'm saying? So I'm just like,
other half.
what? Like they're like
That she's committed to.
Like I'm so confused
Because one of you are single, I mean.
right? Like they're like, oh, is he your father? I was just seeing some crazy. I was like, wait, so I can't. So I was like, wait, so I can't. So if my girl was like, oh, like she wants to go with my girls, and I was like, oh, like.
Your opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah. Like it's not like, oh, like I would be like, oh, you can't do what you want. If I was like, oh, like I want you to stay home with me tonight, what's the big deal? I don't understand. The comments were crazy. I can't lie.
Before we, I just want to address the other conversation, the relationship part. One thing to add to that is that we're not taught how to be in relationships.
No, hell no.
So
No,
because
we're
of that,
not.
you have to learn through experience.
Yeah.
So time gives you that experience, or you seeing experiences gives you that experience.
Yeah.
So for example, someone that is good at relationships at younger ages because they're probably naturally observant. So they see other people go through relationships and like, you know what, I don't want that. This is wrong. This is right. This works. This doesn't. Whereas if you're not observant, time and experience is what is going to teach you.
Yeah.
So that's when it goes back to your point of that's why you see people that are older getting better relationships because you've had the experience of going through shit and realizing this doesn't work for me as a human being.
Yeah. And to your point, sure, I think that TikTok is really interesting, but I think one thing that's difficult with relationships is that like relationships are about servitude. Like, right, like if I'm dating someone or I'm married to someone, I am in a relationship of servitude, right? It doesn't mean I'm on my hands and knees and I'm like a slave to them, but it means that there's a level of giving and gratitude and appreciation and wanting to help the person move in a particular way, whether it's to their goals or to their potential, whatever it is, right? But it's supposed to be reciprocated, right? So, I'm dating someone, they wake up before me, they might make me coffee, and they might make me breakfast, and then they're out the door. So maybe I choose to clean the house, make sure the bed is made, because you're giving and taking, not with the expectation that someone's going to give, but you're giving with the expectation because you just love them and you want to help them and you want to better them, right? I think an issue with a lot of relationships now is it's not about servitude, it's about what can I get from dating this person, right? Even with the Keke Palmer and the boyfriend that we still don't know the name. Yeah, nigga, I'm dating Keke Palmer. Yeah, nigga, I'm up. Like, I'm him. But it's like, you're thinking about what you can get from them versus what can I give to this person? How can I make their life better, right? And that's something that I think that, relationships nowadays lack like heavily, right? It's always about me, myself, and I. What can I get from them? What can I get from them? Which, unfortunately, is not going to be the backbone of a strong, long-lasting relationship, right? Because if it's always what can I get from them, people are going to enter a phase or a period or a season in their relationship where I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting what I want out of this person. I'm going to leave. And then, relationships die when people had this notion of, I want to give because I'm building towards this relationship. I'm investing into this long-term monogamous relationship. Even when there are seasons of, I'm not getting what I want, because that's not the focus, you're still going to try to build in that relationship. So I think that's why I'm not surprised people are acting like that on Twitter, because again, a lot of relationships are not about servitude and wanting to be the other person's rock and all this shit. It's always about, this nigga ain't giving me what I want, nigga. I'm gonna go bounce on this bitch and not giving me what I want.
Once again,
his name is Darius Jackson. He's a PT essentially.
He's a what?
He's a fitness instructor,
personal trainer.
Oh boy.
And I think what doesn't help is like obviously living in society. We literally talked about for the last 5 episodes. Paradox of choice. I think plays into this a lot. It just doesn't help, right? Because like you said, a lot of people are in this mindset of, like I said, you're not getting what you want from that person. Right? So it's like, like I can't do this. I'm done. Like, I'm gonna go find somebody else that can. Provide all this stuff for me. Right. And it's unfortunate. I think me naturally as a male, I think it's ingrained within me to try. obviously, like I don't think because obviously to a degree you can understand why a person would leave a situation if it's not making sense, right? I think also on the other side of that spectrum, it's you shouldn't stay in a situation just to stay in it.
Yeah.
You know
100%.
Like
yeah,
it has
yeah,
to
yeah.
make sense, but I think definitely like that, like you said, that servitude mentality is very lacking. It's just like, oh, like this isn't working, now on to the next. This isn't working, on to the next.
Yeah.
And first of all, just listen to what I said. On to the next, on to the next. Are you not realizing that there's a pattern? You're always going on to the next.
And you're not realizing the common denominator as well.
Is you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
Exactly.
that's kind of why when
You know what I'm saying? Like,
if you ask people like, you know, why their past relationships aren't working, and they're always telling you, oh, you know, this person that, this person this, this
Pointing the
person
finger,
that.
bro. I talked
Yeah,
about this
you're pointing
shit,
the
bro.
finger, but it's like, yeah, but out of those 4 niggas don't know each other, but you're the connection. Or
Thank
those
you.
4 bitches don't know each other, but nigga,
But
you're the
common
connection.
denominator. Exactly,
So you know what the problem, my
let's
nigga?
do some self-reflection. Like, that's what I'm saying, bro. Let's reflect. Let's take some time for ourselves.
You know what?
Before you move on to the next girl and then say, oh, she was also trash. Like all last 5. Come on.
Yeah.
But
Like,
you know
we'll stop
what?
this.
What's also interesting is, let's be honest. Like, I think the interrelational dynamics between men and women is it's so complicated. It's so jumbled. Like, it's a lot. So for you to even get to the point, or to get to the mindset where you're thinking servitude and wanting to be committed to somebody and wanting to give rather than take, I think that you have to jump through a lot of hurdles prior to that. And I don't even mean hurdles to get to that person. I mean just hurdles to get your mind in the right place, right? Because what are we told from a young age, right? We're told, not like we're told like there's some agenda, but more so like from mixing and mingling and talking to people, it's like, yeah, you like a girl, you go out with her, you guys might do some stuff, you might date her after, you might not. You know what I mean? And then you slide to the next. There's no like, okay, well, if you like her, maybe take things slow. If you like her, maybe
There's no structure.
Maybe talk about how you feel and
There's absolutely no
how
structure
commitment
at all.
would work, and how
No structure.
giving instead of taking work. It's niggas are
There's no
niggas
structure.
are right to the
Actually,
to the
I was thinking
action,
about
bro.
this. I was
Right
like,
to the
that's-
action.
That's another. It's just like, it's like, bro. This is literally how it is. Like, oh, you like her, she likes you. First of all, you don't even know what that means, right? Then it's like, oh, like she's good looking, I'm good looking. Yeah, she makes me laugh. You know what I'm saying? I like to grab food with her. I'm gonna start dating her. And then
It's like you don't
bro,
know
it's
this
just
person. You
1
don't
month, 2 months, 3 months. You guys are done.
you don't know their tendencies. You don't know. You don't know
There's
anything about them.
no. That's one thing I learned about dating women. Is if you want to take a woman seriously, there has to be structure, right? I thought about it almost like a business, right? If you want to keep your business
So
going,
when I was saying the business, this rubbish guy.
Stop. I thought about it almost like a business. You know, we're growing and evolving our minds.
Oh,
every day. You know what I'm saying? But like, I thought about it almost like as a business, right? There has to be a way you keep your business afloat.
Now you understand.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I think it also ties into just me being a lot more observant and actually paying attention to like behaviors and like kind of like what John said, tendencies. Like you have to pay attention to all these things. So it's like, okay, look, you are going to get with someone, no matter how similar you are, who is not you. That's just it. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They are not you. Right? So you have to understand them if you want your relationship to work. It's very, very, very simple. It's very simple. You have to understand them, and they have to understand you for your relationship to work, right? For your business to work, you have to understand how to run your business, right? So you can see the patterns in a lot of these things, and it's just like you need to actually take that time and put a structure in place within your relationship so that it actually grows. You know what I'm saying?
The thing about that too is a lot of people that's working on the relationship as opposed to working in the relationship.
Right?
Professor.
No, but that's actually what I heard with what's this?
Oh, your business guy. Yeah,
There's this book. It's
yeah, he said it too.
Yeah,
what's this book? I think it's
Harvey?
called the E Myth. It's called, if you ever read that book, E Myth. All my business owners who are watching this podcast, read that book, E-Myth Revised, the revised edition. But anyway, it talks about how like working in your business and working on your business are two different things, right? Yeah. Working in your business is about like the day-to-day tasks, like making sure certain things are done so the business can make it to the next day, and so the wheel keeps turning, right? But working on your business, you can almost think about it like the analogy of a ship. Like you actually need to make sure it's going in the direction you want it to go in. And that can sort of be the thing in a relationship, right? Where people are very like, you guys are talking about, oh, what do you want to do this weekend? You know, what are our plans for tomorrow? You know, or what do we want to do in the next couple months? Yeah. But it's sometimes the conversations you need to have is like, okay, where are we going? Yeah. Like, are we going in the direction of marriage? Like, is that what we want to do? Yeah. And what I notice is people sometimes are afraid to have that conversation because it's easy to do the day-to-day stuff for 10 years. And you're like, wow, I can't believe we've been together for 10 years. But it's like in year 2, if you said, okay, like I want to get married in 5 years and that's the direction we want to go to, people are like, ooh, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But you can be fucking around and just, you know, fucking for like 10 years, no commitment, no kids, no and crazy, bro. Some people don't want that, and that's cool, but I want to believe that there's a good chunk of people who do want those things, but they need to talk about them. It needs to be like the direction that you both agree on and you both want to head towards. And if you don't, that's where miscommunication, resentment, bitterness, like things come into play where it's like, oh, this person didn't give me what I want, or oh, I felt like they lied to me, and all these things. So but I relationships are complicated.
100%, man. I think it's like I said, that structure. Like I said, there's structure is just lacking. What was there was something else you said just now that I was gonna piggyback off of. I feel like a lot of conversations that people should be having aren't having within their relationships. Right? Kind of like what you said is like looking at your relationship on the outside as opposed to being immersed in it. And that's why you hear a lot of guys like, oh, like they'll leave the relationship like, oh, like I got too consumed, like I was too immersed within, right? So from the standpoint of where the guy was so immersed in the day-to-day stuff that he wasn't able to look at on the relationship on the outside of it, which is why actually, if you notice, a lot of people, it's after the relationship they're like, oh man, this is how I was acting, this is what I was doing, this is what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? They get consumed by a relationship. They're so immersed on the day-to-day stuff that they weren't looking at the relationship in its entirety. They weren't looking at how stupid they were. Yeah. So yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying.
So I actually, funny enough, I saw this TikTok, right, where somebody...
Before we go to TikTok, you give us... You're the only one in a relationship here. You've given us a lot of advice. Are you taking your own advice?
I am, man. Like, the hardest thing, I think... in my relationship, at least with my girlfriend right now, is, you know, we have to have like very difficult conversations, not conversations where it's like, what am I trying to say? Difficult conversations in a sense where it's like we're having serious conversations, right, about the direction we want to go in, how we want to get there, our life goals. And they're not difficult because it's like I don't know, it's like performing a difficult task where you don't have the ability to do so. It's difficult in the sense where to actually have these structured conversations takes a lot of like empathy, compassion, and patience, because how I want to communicate something and how she might interpret it is going to be, you have to take it times 2, because how she might communicate something is going to be different from how I interpret it, right? So that's where the difficult part comes into play, where it's really about communication and
like linguistics.
Almost like that, in the sense where, like, to be honest, there are some times where like I might be upset with something that she said, but it's until I calm down and I come to her and be like, you know what, I don't want to just be mad about this. This is what I heard, and this is how I interpreted it. Is this what you were saying? And then it's up to her to be like, yeah, this is what I meant, or no, you completely misunderstood me. And the same thing happens on her side, where she might be unhappy with something I said, and it's until we talk about it where it's like, no, you misunderstood me, or no, you got me completely correct, this is what I said, and maybe you're upset about it, but this is how I feel, and we can still talk about it. We can still try to smooth out the edges around any sort of decision or kind of opinion that was brought up. So yeah, that's kind of like, and I feel like I wouldn't say difficult in a sense where it's difficult because we're having those kind of conversations. I think it's just those kind of conversations are just difficult in general, right?
Yeah, they bring you back to earth, not living in La La Land.
Exactly, right? So you have to be very realistic. People have to be very realistic with each other, right? Because even the other day, you know, we were talking, and I wanted to know. I was like, okay, like what do you want from me? Like, not like what do you want? Not like that. But it's more so like we've been together for, you know, X amount of time. Like, where do you want us to go? How do you want us to, you know?
What would you like me to do for you?
Exactly. Maybe we're not at the crossroads where we start talking about marriage, but it's like, where do you want us to go as we start to enter this new season of our lives, right? Like she recently got into med school. She got into med school. She starts in 3-4 weeks. Like, it's right around the corner.
Don't look at us, bro. We don't know.
I don't know. Like I've recently been getting into some side projects of my own that are starting to get a little more on the heavy side. So it's like, what do you want from me in this season? How can I support you? You're going to be going into a new phase of your life. I'm going to be going into a new phase of my life. Things are going to get busy. How can we start to have these conversations where we can make things work, right? Yeah. And that's a difficult conversation, or a difficult conversation, right? So I think that's kind of the encompassing factor of these difficult conversations, right? How do you make things work when you're entering a new season, or things are consistently changing, or things don't go as planned? How do you continue to navigate to the direction that you do want the relationship to go in? So
I think it's an investment that never stops, right? You're investing every day. It's just like when you're talking about commitment, you're choosing to commit every day.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a lot of things that people forget. Like, I've been seeing a lot of like relationship stuff, and like just kind of like tying to the psychology of like people and like how they act and the behaviors and stuff. But yeah, man, I think that level of observing your relationship on the outside is very, very important, right? And I think there was one video I saw recently where he was like, and this ties back into the whole structure part of it, where he, the video was pretty much saying it was a couple, and they're like, okay, every month they sit down, they're like, okay, let's talk about our relationship on the outside, right? Yeah, we go on dates. Yeah, we spend money on each other. Yeah, we go on trips, right? Cool. Let's talk about, okay, how was this month for us as a couple, as a unit? How was this month for us? Is there anything that I'm doing that upset you? Is there anything that you're doing? How can we improve together as a unit? We are now a unit. We are essentially one person, right? How can we improve? What do you need from, kind of like what you were saying, what do you need from me? What do I need from you so that we can move on to the next month smoothly? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's something that people need to really start thinking about a lot more. Is just looking on your relationship on the outside as much as on the inside for it to work, right?
But I think there's also like there's a level of like intimate trust that comes with wanting to be with someone long term, right? And like when it comes to my girlfriend specifically, right? Like I trust her a lot, not because, you know, there are what am I trying to say? Not because it's like you did this one big thing that made me just. It's these little wins, right? These little wins where it's like you build trust in someone over time because they've shown you consistently, time and time again, that they're reliable, they're dependable, they're trustable, things like that, right? So for you to get to a position where you can say, I love you, I want to be with you, we're a unit, but let's look at things from the outside. How are we doing, right? To get to that conversation, there needs to be that level of intimate trust that has been built up over time. And I just don't think that if you're not stacking those tiny wins where you're like, yeah, wow, they're showing up every day, they're doing what they say they're going to do, they're building this rapport. If you don't get that, then you're not going to get the conversations that Sheree mentioned where it's like, yeah, we need to talk about our relationship. Because let's be honest, if you're dating a girl and she said, we need to talk about our relationship, most niggas are like, oh, bro, they're thinking, man, did I say something? Because they're thinking in this mindset of it's on the rocks versus why can't we ever say, let's sit down and talk about our relationship because we want to navigate where we want to go together, right? People don't think about that. They just think, okay, did I talking to some girl? Like, oh shit, like that? Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's the guilt.
But
that's the guilt because you're not even sure of what you do on a daily basis. You're not conscious of what you're doing on a daily basis. If you're conscious of what you're doing on a daily basis, you understand that this girl cares for you and wants progression. Yeah. So if she's asking a question like that, you also understand what she's asking.
Yeah.
Rather than if you're living your life in your own world,
La La Land,
and
bro.
then she now asks you a question. Now you're woken up in reality and like, shit,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did I do anything?
Mm-hmm.
Then like, oh shit, did I walk well today? Did she catch me looking at someone?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like if you're single in a relationship, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship and being in a relationship, you're gonna understand when someone asks you a question, because all the time that you've been doing things, you do things as though you have someone at home.
Yeah.
So you know when she's asking you a question, you know, because you already know what, like, you know she exists.
Mm-hmm.
You're not shocked when she speaks.
Yeah.
And the other way around, you know he exists, so you're not shocked when he speaks, because every day you're going about like someone that is in a relationship. You're conscious. You now have an extension of yourself. You know, so no one teaches us relationships.
I saw a TikTok where some girl was basically, she was making the point that like she doesn't take relationship advice from people who are single, because it's like, why would I take advice from someone who's not in the same position of life that I'm in and stuff like that. And I'm split on that opinion, because I've seen single niggas and single girls, women, give some great relationship advice, even though they're single, right? But then obviously at the same time, it's like, I also have seen people who are single give horrible relationship advice, but also people who are in relationships give great advice, people who are in relationships give bad advice, right? And I often feel like it comes down to like observation, right? Like for me personally, I observe like a lot of like my parents, their siblings and their spouses, my cousins and their spouses. Like I like to observe those relationships, because it's like, okay, this is what, you know, a relationship, like my relationship could look like in the future if it progresses in a very particular way. Or you look at other people's lives and you're like, my relationship also could look like this if it progresses a very particular way, right? It's more so, I think sometimes it's more important about observation and looking versus someone telling you, oh, this is how it is and this is what you need to do. Because let's be honest, people could tell you what to do and you might still mess it up. Versus you, if you look and observe, you can kind of take in and you can try to navigate versus following a step-by-step instruction. So
even with that, when it comes to single people giving advice, it's not about not listening to single people just because they haven't had the experience. Is who is giving you that advice? If, for example, the guy that's giving you advice is single, and the reason he's single is because he treats girls like shit, when he's giving you advice, don't listen to it. Because you can see who he is. If it's a guy that understands respect, also you've seen that he's observant, and when he speaks from a place of either knowledge or a place of care and understanding. When they're giving you advice, that's someone you can listen to. Yeah. But again, there's people just chatting shit. When you're saying, I don't listen to people that, bro, so who you not going to listen to? Your friend that is in a toxic relationship giving you advice? Yeah. But I also what I'm saying? Like when, for example, you get in an argument, let's say in the morning, your boyfriend said something to you in a certain way and you didn't like it, just because he was rushing to work or something. Now you go talk to your friend, just because you don't want to talk to your single friend to give you advice. You talk to your friend that's in a relationship. She's also a toxic person, and she tells you, oh, go scratch his car. He's probably talking to another girl. That's why his mind is so everywhere. So are you not going to tell me that's the advice you're going to take? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so when people say that kind of stuff, I just shrug it off, man, because it's such a dumb thing to say, bro. It's so daft.
So, John, what would you say is your love language? Since we're on the topic of relationships and dating.
That's a good question. I think it's...
Or your number one love language.
What's it called? I think it's acts of service. Like, is that what it is? Is that what... Like, when you like people doing things for you. No.
No, I say, what do you like to receive? And there's also what you like to give out.
Oh, okay. I think
they could be the same though.
Yeah, it could be the same, but they could be different. They're different.
Yeah, there's both sides to each one.
I think I like giving out acts of service. I think that's what it is. Like I like being available for people, right? Like if my friend could call me like, hey, I really need help with something, I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'm coming, right? Like I'll be there. Or my girlfriend says, hey, can you help me do something? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll be there. I kind of like giving myself out in that kind of servitude manner. What I like receiving, I don't know. I don't really think like I'm not one for gifts. Like if my girlfriend gets me something, I'm definitely happy, and she usually gets me things that I need. But I don't know. That's a good question.
Do you want her around?
Yeah, I like being around her. Yeah.
Do you, when she's not around, do you think about wanting her to be around?
Yeah, but I do like my own independence.
Space, yeah.
I like just being by. I do like being by myself. Like not like all like isolated. But I like my own time.
Do you like being touched, like fist bump, hug,
kisses?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I like those things, but it's not like.
No, I'm asking you on a level of like how much do you require them? Think about when you're sitting down on your own. Put yourself in this situation when you're sitting down on your own. Answer these questions. Do you think about wanting her around?
Yeah.
Right. Is it something that you really want, or something that's just like, I don't mind if she's here or not?
I would say I really enjoy her company, like in terms of like I think it's nice, kind of like I'll finish my day and like we'll hang out, we'll make dinner together, we'll go for a drive. Like I really enjoy those things. Yeah. But I would almost say I also enjoy my independence, where I can kind of be at home and do my own thing. You know what I mean?
So when you're now with her, when you're with her, when she touches you, does that do anything for you? Or when she touches you, do you feel comfort?
Don't look at me like that, man.
See, it could be a hug, it could be a handshake, it could be just her playing with your hair, it could literally just be her checking something in your face. Even the typical one, the pimple popping, but
she does that all the time.
We can see you got smooth skin.
She does that. She does that all the. Oh my god! She's actually doing that today. Can you imagine?
For you, do you like receiving those things? If again, put yourself in the position of if I was on my own and she was here, is that something that I'm conscious that she's doing?
That's a good question. I don't know, because like obviously I like when she pampers me. Don't get she oh baby, you want me to buy you some food?
Wait, you're running now. Hold on. Also, my question is straightforward. We're trying to figure something out.
Let me get those. Let me get those people for you. I like that, but I don't know if I would say like that's like my bread and butter. Like that's what I really. I don't know. Cool. I don't know.
I don't know. So now back again to the situation, because I know you like to fly to the situation. You're on your own. She's around. If she was to bring you food, or if let's say you were trying to do like your cake jars or something, and she was to help you out by passing you one of the jars while you're filling it, is that something that you would notice, or is it something that it doesn't really?
No, that's something I would notice. Like if they're actually, funny enough, when I used to when we were first doing the cake jars, actually before the cake jars, when we were doing the happy boxes, and it was like a monthly subscription, she would always come with me. She'd be like, oh, can I come with you? And I really valued that. Yeah. Even there were times when I first moved into the commercial kitchen unit, and it's in St. Vital. I'm kind of there at night, and like it does kind of get lonely.
Wait, no. That one's acts of service.
It does kind of get lonely, and there were times where she's on the phone with me, and I appreciated that, or she's there with me when I'm baking, just because it's really nice to have her presence there. Yeah. But I think it's more so the idea that she was giving up her free time to willingly spend it with me. Yeah. I think those are things that I really appreciated. Yeah.
Do you appreciate? Do you notice, or is it something that makes you feel good when she messages you good morning, or well done, congratulations, or how's your day? Is that something you desire? Is that something you think about?
Not really. Like when she does say those things, I'm really it makes me feel good. Like in terms, like I'm like, wow, like I'm happy that someone's proud of me. But that's just not something that I'm very receptive to in general. Okay. Just because I don't know. I think growing up, like I would do something. My parents were never like, "Oh wow, we're so." It's just like, okay, yeah, good job, like.
And then lastly, do you like when she buys you shit? Is this something that can change your mood?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. like, I don't be okay. The reason why I don't know is because
She doesn't buy you shit.
No. She always buys me like shit I need. But the issue with that is like sometimes I'm not aware of like my needs. So I don't know. For example, I had a pair of Birkenstocks that my friends had got me for my birthday. And I love that. I love those pair of shoes. I wore them until literally they were completely demolished, right? But in my mind, I'm like, they're not even that bad. Like, they're not even that bad for her. It's until she just randomly bought me a new pair, and she's like, nah, let me just take these. I'm going to take these. And then I realized, like, oh, wow, I really need a new pair of shoes, right? And that's kind of extended to everything else, like stuff like skincare, hair care, like certain clothes, like just anything that she notices that like is kind of like outdated or it's not serving me properly. She'll be like, okay, yeah, he definitely needs, and she'll just do it, right? Which is stuff I do really appreciate. Yeah.
So from my observation, from my analysis, it looks like we have acts of service, quality time. It's between words of affirmation and physical touch. But I'll probably say words of affirmation is above physical touch. In that case, physical touch and then gift giving at the bottom. That's my analysis.
Wait, what?
So your love language is what you appreciate the most.
Yeah. So
is acts of service.
Okay.
Quality time is what you also appreciate as well.
Okay.
Then you have words of affirmation. So things like, how are you doing? How's your morning? Well done. Thank you. Then you have physical touch, and then gift giving you don't really care too much about, but still nice when it happens.
Yeah. Does gift giving count as food?
I'm a professional.
Huh?
Does gift giving count as food?
Yeah, but then
maybe we should bump it higher because she takes good care of me. You know, like
yeah,
I'm not saying she's a traditional wife, like
you refer to
be
it
in the
as,
kitchen, but she be taking
you
care
refer
of
to it as care, and you refer to it as service. It's not like you get elate when she buys you anything. Oh, you literally just told us that.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why
that's fair. Okay.
That's why when you were even describing the gifts that she's giving you, it's more of like she solved the need.
Yeah.
Or she solved the problem.
Yeah.
Like she bought food when I was hungry. It's not like she bought food and all of a sudden you're excited.
Okay.
Professor Docs.
Right.
All right. Top three.
What's my updated top three?
You know what I'm saying?
Updated.
Of course. I mean, I don't know if it. I think it's the same from when I last said it. It's been a while, but definitely words of affirmation.
It's number one?
Yeah. 1,000%.
You have a praise kink?
I don't know if it's a praise kink, but I like being told like I appreciate you. And this is both ways actually. This is not something for me personally at least. It's not like I'm the one that I'm huge on it, bro. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate everything you've done for me. Like I'm big on that. But also like I like being told that. Like, same thing, I'm proud of you. Thank you so much for what you did. I enjoy your presence. Stuff like that. Then I would say quality time is my second. And then physical touch is my third. Yeah. Those are my three. Yeah, those are my three. After soul searching, of course.
What's soul searching?
Just fucking with you.
Oh, okay. I don't know any of this love language.
That's why I had to analyze it for you now. So now you know. If someone asks you, that's like it's roughly what yours is, but like you probably have to get to.
I like be conscious of it from now on. Then you.
I like getting her gifts too, though. I like buying her stuff.
So,
not even because she really needs it, but it's just like let's just like buying her stuff, you know.
So
I'll see someone, I'll be like, oh, she would definitely like that, and then.
Are you someone that likes to be doing, well done? Good morning. Are you a good morning texter?
Not really. No, I'm a good morning. Like I'll send you like a meme. Like I'll send you like a TikTok or something. Like, it'll be like the funniest. It'll be like, you know, when you're like scrolling on TikTok or whatever, you'll see like clips of like The Simpsons or like Family Guy. It's like really funny clips. Like I'll send her those. Like if you look at her, like her. Well, obviously you'll never see her inbox, like the conversation between her and I send her like tons of like just like funny clips because I think it's like a way of me saying good morning. Yeah, or I'll just call her in the morning
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Traditional, man.
Just call her, wake her up.
Take the tips, boys. Take the tips. You know what I'm saying? This is a veteran in the game.
That might annoy your girlfriend if it's like the first couple months and she'll be like, "Why is this nigga calling me so much, bro?"
Depends on the girl, actually.
I think she's used to it by now, man.
Depends on the girl.
What about you, bro?
Mine has stayed the same, man. I've known myself for quite a bit. I don't know if it's gonna change like anytime soon, but essentially it's what I like: receiving physical touch, quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation. Yeah.
For the win.
Yes, no.
Niggas are lacking.
Words of affirmation and gift giving. On the other hand, it's quality time, gifts, physical touch, acts of service. Actually, no, acts of service, physical touch, and then words of affirmation. I'm very shit with like
words of affirmation.
Well done. And like I'll do it, but it's just
don't know.
It's something that I have to like force myself.
Bro, trust
king.
all the
voice note king.
bro. I'm telling you,
voice note king.
Nah, it's crazy. But the thing is, for me, why I like the fact that I found out about this more recently is because it's helped me be observant in terms of when, like I said, when I'm dating women and just being in that space. It's like, and this is why I asked you about it. It wasn't this whole astrology bullshit. It was just like,
I got confused. Niggas like, yeah, what's your love language? I was like, love language? Is that like astrology, the periodic table?
Nah,
like,
we weren't flying that far,
bro.
You know what I'm saying? It's not that bullshit on Snapchat. It was more so like, okay, I use it as a compass now in terms of my observation of like the women I'm around, and it helps me in my relationships with them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I'm talking to a girl, right, and I'm actually around her, I'm paying attention to what she says. This is not something I used to do. I'm conscious of it now, but I'm conscious of I'm paying attention to what she says, and I'm observing her as I'm around her, as I'm with her, right? So to where now, say for example, I were to get into a relationship with her or a serious situation, I kind of know how to cater to her in those ways, to where I'm like, okay. And I think it's a useful thing, right? It's just like, I think it ties into understanding your partner as well, right? If you know your girl likes acts of service and she likes quality time, right? Even if those may not be what you're big on for yourself, when you're talking about servitude, you now know you can.
That's how you serve them.
Exactly, right? You can be like, okay, she knows. Okay, let me open the door for her. Let me tie her shoes. Let me help her with this. Let me help her without her asking. Let me pick up the groceries for, those little things. And those are her love languages. She's appreciating you more and more and more. For those things. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of like, when I was posing the question, I meant it in that sense. You know what I mean? To where it's like you use it as a compass to who you're around. Even with your guys too. You know what I mean? Even just in relationships in general. Love languages can really help you kind of understand a person.
So what do you think is the big difference between somebody kind of being like simp, a pushover, someone who gets stepped on, walked on? Like, what do you think the difference between that is and someone who has kind of like this servitude mentality where they want to be of service to other people? Like, what do you think is the big difference?
I think the difference, to put it simply, in my opinion, I think the difference is the reciprocation of that energy, right? So I think when at least when you're seeing this shit on social media about, oh, this guy's a simp, he's doing this, he's doing that, it's like he's doing these things and the other person is not either appreciating them or reciprocating their energy in any capacity, right? You're sending her flowers, she's not answering your texts. You're sending her gifts, she's not appreciative of you. She doesn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, like, if you're in a situation to where you're doing these things, this is where I hear this bullshit, right? You're doing these things and you're either dealing with a girl seriously or she's a girlfriend and she's appreciating these things that you're doing for her, and your boys are calling you a simp. It's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. She's not a simp. It's part of the dynamic of the relationship. Yeah. Right? It's you being of servitude to your partner. There's nothing wrong with you sending your girl flowers. There's nothing wrong with you getting your girl gifts. You're not a simp for doing that. You're not a pushover for doing that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what the difference is.
I actually think the difference is intent, right? Like, I think not, and this is not always the case, but I think anybody who's kind of like a simp, a pushover, someone who gets walked over, they might do things for people, but oftentimes it could be because they want to be accepted, they want to be liked, they want to be appreciated, like they're looking for validation in other people, and so they do actions or they do services to get validation from other people, to get acceptance from other people. But someone who, you know, kind of has the heart of a servant, who has like this servitude mentality, they're not doing it because they want to be accepted by you. They're doing it because that's who they are, right? Like, I don't hold the door open for people when they're passing me because I want them to say thank you. I just do it because it's the right thing to do, and that's just the type of person I am. I hold doors for people, like whatever. Like, I don't think about it like that. So I think that might be the separating factor, at least the way I think about it. But your point is also very valid. Like, if someone's doing something for their girl and their girl is very appreciative and like, nigga, you're not a simp, bro. Like, the other thing too is I think like a lot of men don't like to be seen as like vulnerable or weak in front of other men, but it's the same issue. The issue with that is that same thought process is the issue with the issue you brought up way earlier in the episode where the Keke Palmer guy, where his mates are coming to him saying, "Oh well, look at your girl, man." It's like, you don't ever want to look some type of way around your niggas, but that can either steer you in a good direction or that can steer you in a very wrong direction. Yeah. So what's better more times than anything is to have your own opinion on something. You can hear other people's opinions, but have your own opinion and take heed from there.
I was gonna say something similar to what you're saying, like I was gonna say self-respect. If you're doing things because you want to do them, you can't really be a simp because you're doing them and you're getting your own gratification from doing them. If you're doing them and at home you're crying because you're doing them, it's not benefiting you. Yeah, that's where you become a simp, because now you're submitting to someone else's dreams that's not even helping you move anywhere. Yeah, you know. Yeah. But I like what Troy said, because I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. Because guys,
let's keep it simple, man. Let's not even layer it. You feel me? Bro, let's not even layer it at all. But what do you guys think about like kind of what you were saying, steering away from it a little bit? What do you guys feel about like ego? Because I've been seeing things about like the death of ego and like how that like can change your life and stuff like that. I feel like everyone has ego, but like, what do you guys think about that? Especially as guys too, you know, as males.
Ego can be like it's sort of like adrenaline, where a little bit of adrenaline can get you amped, it can get you pumped, it can help you do things that without the adrenaline you couldn't do, right? But too much adrenaline can make you jittery, it can throw you off, it can stop you from focusing, right? So in that same way, I think like having a little bit of an ego, like just a little bit of that swagger, like, you're confident in yourself, I don't think that's a problem. When your ego is too inflated, when it's too big, that's where I think like issues can arise, right? And I've come across people where, and this is now in the business world, I've come across people where they're making, for their age, good money, and it's kind of getting to their head. Like they've made some choices and some decisions that are very questionable, and their only reason why that's happening is because they think, because of the situation that they're in, they're, I'm him, I'm that guy, I can make these kind of decisions, like, who gives a fuck? But then I will see people who are making 10 times, 50 times, 100 times what they're making, and they're soft-spoken, they're quiet, they're humble, they don't ever talk about things outside of their scope of knowledge. They'll be like, look, I don't know too much about this, so I don't really want to talk about it, that's not my area. Like, ego is very relative, but ego can be very dangerous. You can have people who think they're the shit because they made 90K or something, and they think they're the shit. You have people who make 150K who are super humble because they understand the world's bigger than themselves. But you have someone else who makes 150K thinking, yeah, I'm that nigga. And you have a nigga making 5 million who's like, you know what? Life is just starting. So that's kind of where I've learned to say, like, ego can be good, but sometimes it's better to dial it back down than actually ramp it up.
Everything in moderation, bro. The definition is person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. You have to have some sort of selfishness in life to grow, right? You have to look after yourself. You have to, for example, if you have the choice of, let's say you live in a house, you have the choice of getting dishwasher soap or getting body wash for yourself. Which one makes more sense? If you think about it from a point of, we're running out of dishwasher soap and I've got 2 bottles of body wash, you getting body wash does not make sense. Now that's you doing too much self-importance, right? Whereas if it's a thing where you don't have body wash and the dishwasher soap can last for maybe like a week extra, where you can like rack some money up, or you're going to be paid at the end of the week later on to then fill up later. Now your ego, your self-importance comes first because you need to shower. You know what I'm saying? So everything in moderation. So this I don't like a lot of the teachings that are happening now is like people preying on people's vulnerability. So you have on the guy's side, you have our masculinity, our self-importance, our values. You know, a lot of guys are lacking certain things in terms of their value and their worth. Then you have a lot of teachers and preachers that are monetizing off of that. So they'll say things like death of ego. Like, if you have a death of ego, that means you have low self-esteem. That doesn't make sense. Whereas you're now preaching to people with low self-esteem, telling them you need to put your ego aside. They already don't have enough ego. You know, on the other side, you have girls as well. What do we see? Their own is beauty standards, their vulnerability in the beauty standards. You have people that are monetizing off the fact that these girls don't look a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So even to do like with ego, it's moderation. Ego is an important thing when you're trying to build. It's an important thing when you're trying to be great. It's an important thing when you're trying to be the best version of yourself. But too much of it is where now you forget you're a human. And you forget how to treat other people properly. You know, your self-important. It goes even with the Bible where it says the love of money, where people think money is the problem. In that phrase, the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not the money, it's the love of it.
The money,
See what I'm saying? So same here. If all you care about is your importance, your self-importance, that's your love of your self-importance. Is how much you are putting your self-importance above everything else. That's not you understanding that you as a human being are a lot more than just your self-importance. You have your physical self to look after, you have your spiritual self to look after, psychological, mental, all of those things, your social self to look after. But if you're just looking after yourself, if you're just looking after your ego, bro, everything else is going to deteriorate. Your social life is going to deteriorate because people won't like you. You know, like so many other things will deteriorate. Your spiritual self will deteriorate because now you see yourself as more important than God, or more important than whoever the higher being you serve. Do you get what I'm saying? So again, it's ego is not the problem. Is the love and the overvaluing of it that's the problem. You know? That's my take.
Yeah, that was good, man. I felt like I was just in Bible class. Like literally, put out the iPad and everything.
Literally. Oh my god, bro.
Man. I have nothing to say, man. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just seeing a lot of stuff about like detach yourself from your ego, and then on the other side of that is like,
nah, people
like you're woke and like shit like that.
Sometimes I feel like people get like pride and ego mixed up because we use them interchangeably, but I don't actually think they have the same definition.
They don't, but also pride is also not something that is
inherently bad.
Yeah, that's another thing.
No, okay. Well, I've actually had a split opinion on this. I think, and maybe it's the way I'm phrasing it in my head that's kind of causing this split opinion. But I think to be proud of something and to take pride in something are two different things. Like I might be might be proud to be Nigerian. Like I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm happy. I'm content. Like I'm proud. But to take pride in the fact that I'm Nigerian and be like, yeah, I'm Nigerian. I'm better than you, motherfuckers. It's like those are two different things. And if you detach yourself from being, from keeping your confidence in something, you tend to not get hurt, right? Like if I put all my confidence in the fact that I'm Nigerian and, you know, we're this and we're that and we're this and we're that, the moment someone attacks anything to do with Nigeria, that's where my whole not personality, but that's where who I am is tied to. So when someone attacks Nigeria, I feel like they're attacking me. I become reactive. I become angry. I become all these things because they're saying something about what I've attached myself to. Versus if I detach myself from putting my confidence in who I am in that thing, but rather more so I'm happy that I'm Nigerian, but that's not where my identity lies. Then all of a sudden you're not as triggered if someone says, yeah, but you know, Nigerians, they used to do this back then. But yeah, you know, that's true, but I don't hold my identity there. So I think that's where my opinion splits. I don't know.
But then that's your misunderstanding what pride is then. Because what you're talking about is having all your confidence and all your pride in being Nigerian. Your identity is still in being Nigerian, but your identity is also in being a basketballer, being a baker, being a businessman, so you have pride in all these things. You know, that's why you have to understand what pride actually means. Pride is taking confidence, or is taking value in something. But when you, again, back to overvaluing, that's where it becomes a problem.
Issue,
Pride and being proud of something are two different things, but again, it's still, they start neutral. And then depending on what you do, again, like money is neutral. Depending on what you do, you can use money to, you know, hire an assassin to kill someone, or you can use money to buy a house for your mum. Do you get what I'm saying?
Shook up.
This guy.
But yeah, man, like I literally what I was saying. I feel like we just we're just coding shit all over things, all over meanings, right? And I think just part of it is just at the end of the day, a lot of these words are neutral. It's just the fact that negativity sells. You feel me?
Bro,
negativity sells.
simple.
That's just it.
Simple.
So it's just like, that's why there's so much negativity attached to all these words.
More to face you. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, man, it's crazy out here, bro. I can't lie.
I was watching a documentary earlier today about vaping, bro, and I realized how much I hate. I've been conscious of how much I just find it disgusting.
Really?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I want to hear what he has to say about this.
I say that because like I think I agree with you in the sentiment where there are things that people do that I just find like the thought of it like just disgust. Like when I hear like people do like coke, right? Which actually I was very surprised to hear. It's very common. Like it's very common for people to do coke. Which because I'm thinking like growing up, like
I thought it's something you can't find, see.
I thought it was like
taboo shit ever
exactly
in your life. But
mind you. Oh
yeah, niggas.
I see people doing it all the time. I'm like, what the? So, but I think why it disgusts me so much is like the idea that like you're getting intoxicated by inhaling something through your nose. It throws me off. I'm just like that. It just feels so dirty. Like it just feels so wrong. Like if a nigga's smoking or they're drinking, okay, well you use your mouth to breathe and eat. So it kind of, you rationalize like you have an edible while you're eating, or you're drinking alcohol, you drink water. Like those, your mouth is meant to intake. Your nose? Come on, man. So that's why it kind of like irks me, because I'm like, it's just so dirty. But that's why I can kind of understand like there could be some things where people just, it irks them when you think about it, and that's kind of like me with cocaine. When I hear, this person was doing lines, I'm like,
cocaine is crazy, bro. My thing with vaping is just I just don't understand why. Like, have you, like, people that do it too much, have you looked in the mirror? Like, have you looked at yourself doing it? Like, even, for example, when I'll go out and, let's say my friends are saying, oh, would you smoke, like, hookah? Well, I don't really want to do it.
Yeah.
Firstly, I'm already, like, overthinking the whole tobacco, overthinking the whole what it's doing to me inside.
Yeah.
Talk less of just smoking in vapor.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But then what annoys me is when people now think they're not addicted. So I'm like, if you're going to tell me that, if you're going to convince me that I should take it because it's just vapor, oh yeah, and I'll give it up. Stop. But you can't. You're addicted. That's why I don't want this shit.
Oh my god! I remember when people used to say like you couldn't get addicted to smoking weed, and that argument always used to make me so mad.
Oh my god, that's the one, bro.
I would look at
That's the
niggas and
one.
I'd be like, yo, I'm not hating, nigga. I'm not judging you, but you're addicted. You can't get addicted to smoking weed. I'm like, my nigga, you smoke this shit every day, bro. You're addicted every day.
Or you say something stupid like, oh, it doesn't. You say something very, very. Like, it makes sense when you say, oh, weed is not bad. Yeah, again, weed is not bad. It's medicinal, but the love of it.
Yeah, like, and even
Everything in moderation.
even if it's not, like,
And also, sorry, do you have an illness that you're trying to fix?
no.
Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like,
You know what I actually noticed? A lot of niggas that I know who be smoking weed, before they be smoking weed, they're not like, I'm not saying they become angry niggas when they smoke weed, but like I've noticed that a lot of niggas will like before they start smoking weed, totally chill, whatever. They be smoking that shit for, a couple months. They don't get their little puffin. They start getting agitated, start getting angry. I'm like, nigga, chill, bro.
You can't. I just feel like you can't really say that you don't have an addiction
to
something when it's now affecting your behavior.
Literally,
like you hear niggas say, "Oh, I can't eat. I need to smoke first." You were able to eat before you started smoking. There's clearly something has changed. You know what I mean?
They say I can't sleep. I can't
smoke. Yeah, I need to smoke.
I'm like, my nigga.
Clearly, something has changed in the chemicals in your brain. If you now need to smoke before eating or sleeping, So for you to say that, oh, now you're not addicted to it, it's just like, bro.
It's like, bro,
Like,
it's like, I think I heard someone once, this was like when I was in middle school, someone was once trying to make the argument that like, you can't become addicted to like masturbating, you can only become addicted to pornography, and I'm like, like, bro, people can become addicted, like, anything that releases pleasure, you can become addicted to.
That's the whole point,
bro. We discovered you can become addicted to literally like live scrolling.
Yeah.
Bro, we can become addicted anything that releases pleasure, bro. It doesn't have, you don't have to eat it. It doesn't have to be eaten. It doesn't have to be
It
smoked.
doesn't have to be ingested in any capacity.
It doesn't have like anything. It doesn't have to be a physical touch. You can become addicted to anything that releases
anything
pleasure,
that
bro.
plays on that pleasure and pain in the middle is addiction.
Yeah.
It's like they were explaining it from a point of like, imagine now with weed, right? Weed has a certain relaxant, right, in it. That relaxant is when you are in a place of overwork or whatever the illness that needs weed to be solved. When you're in that state, that's when weed is now brought in to bring you to a neutral state. Now, when you're getting the pleasure of being relaxed and when you get the pleasure of being relaxed and you do it for so long, your normal resting, relaxing point that your body does
changes.
Is over here. Once you now make weed like a habitual thing, your relaxing comes here. Now, if you're gonna tell me you're not addicted to weed, you can remove weed out the equation, but what you've done, you've changed your body organisms, or you change your body functions to a point where naturally you're here, but you've used something else, an outside source, to get you over here. So now if your body is where it's normally at, because its new normal is down here, you're feeling overstressed, you're feeling overworked, you're feeling agitated, you're feeling irritated.
I think what people forget is like the human body, from brain to everything else, is meant to adapt.
It's so malleable.
It's
so
literally meant to adapt to the environment.
Let's not move too far, but even if it adapts, your body still has a normal setting.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
But it adapts even to not, and I'm not saying in the light where it's
I'm saying I'm backing your point because your brain adapts. Because the thing is, people are going to listen to that and be like, yeah, it adapts. Yeah. So my body adapts. No, your brain adapts
to the
because it has to adapt to the new environment. But your body
of that
still remains the same and needs the same function. So it's going to react a certain way when it tries to do the normal thing. But because it has a new normal,
that's actually, do you know, that's the same thing with it's the same thing with alcohol. I don't have the source to cite it, but they did a study where they found that people who drink alcohol on a regular basis, so you could drink once every day, you could drink only on the weekends, you could drink once a week, but anybody who drinks on a periodic timetable, what that does is it naturally raises your cortisol levels.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I saw that. Saw that.
So people who are drinking on a regular basis tend to just have higher levels of stress, right? Because I think, was it like alcohol's a depressant? Yeah. And so if you're having a depressant more regularly, your cortisol levels will continue to increase.
Right? Your relaxing state comes down here. So then when your body's now trying to be its normal relaxing, you're feeling stressed.
Yep, because you're used to
being down here now.
Because you're used to having a regular, whether that's once a day, once a week, once a month, whatever it is, your body's used to getting into a relaxing state. Mm-hmm. So when you're not getting it, there's a heightened level of stress. And I thought that was really interesting because people talk about how alcohol it can't be as worse as this, or it's like a lot of these things are terrible for you.
Niggas forget that a lot of this shit used to be illegal to sell.
Yeah, bro. It's
like, if you actually think about a lot of these things that everyone's consuming, bro, weed wasn't legal recently. They're gonna talk about legalizing cocaine soon. In the last 5 years.
Is it not in
it's legal in some
Seattle? No. No, it's on the West Coast. It's on the West
America.
No,
Southern America.
No, it's on the West Coast of the States.
Somewhere there,
Portland.
Bro.
It's
bro.
It's legal.
My point is, Seattle.
What's his name? James Chris was talking about it.
Yeah, he was.
It was legal somewhere. It's legal somewhere.
Yeah, and it's just like
Vancouver. I'm pretty sure he said
Vancouver decriminalized. Is it Seattle? I think it's Seattle or Portland that they decriminalized like all use of drugs, so people can sell like crystal meth, cocaine, heroin.
See? We're in dark times, and even forget about the legality. It's not naturally in your body, anyways. Your body functions on chemicals. It functions on also a pH balance. If you're introducing outside sources, it's gonna change it. See, oh my god!
I'm not a big There's this thing called I think it's called the nature fallacy, where people talk about just because something's natural, it has to be good for you, which isn't obviously true. Like, nigga, poison ivy is natural. That's just not. rub that shit all over your body. Tell me how you feel in 10 minutes. So, like, just because something is natural doesn't always mean it's good for you. But typically, there are things that people will be like, oh, it's natural, it can't be that. It's like, no, just because it's natural, nigga, it's not good for you.
It's not natural to your body.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just want to keep it simple, bro, you can see there's literally brain scans of people who before they introduce substances and afterwards, cocaine, weed, alcohol, their brain literally, the shape of the brain, it changes.
Yeah.
So you can it's really that simple. So
I think a lot of those things too, where people are doing certain drugs, stuff like that, it can also depend on like just the cultural society, right? Like if that's something that's popular within your city, or it's just popular within culture at the time, I'm not surprised people do that kind of stuff.
That's the issue with like having these conversations now. Like even me saying I don't like hookah, I don't like vaping. It's like, okay, cool, you go to certain Middle Eastern countries and they'll say it's part of my culture. I'm like, fine, like it can be part of your culture, but Catholics on, you know what?
Because I think when people say something is part of their culture, it's tough to have those kind of conversations, because we, like, anybody who has an intellectually honest conversation can be like, yeah, there were things that people that they were doing in my culture that I look back on and that just wasn't good. But no one likes to do that now. No one wants to say, great grandpappy John, he was doing some messed up shit in his time. No one wants to say that, but if you're having an honest conversation, you can be like, okay, yeah, this is part of our culture. It's not that great. But the reason why people don't like to say that is various reasons. But one reason why I think people don't like to say that is because you might feel like it dishonors the people who came before you, and you don't really want to do that. Like, in Yoruba land, you know, they used to be sacrificing twins because they used to think that was demonic, so they would kill both twins because, like, how can a nigga copy himself? Like, but then we got to the point where, like, that's not right. What are we doing? Like, that's not right. And lo and behold, we're not the twin capital of the world, so.
Yeah, I just think my issue is the lack of objectivity of these conversations, right? Because it's like you said, like, I can already see, like, people will listen to this and be like,
Bro, I can see it.
Yeah,
I can
it's
see.
like,
I've had this conversation.
Like, oh, haven't I seen you drink, or haven't I seen you? It's not. It's. I don't even want. It's just from an objective point we're talking. I think it's the lack of that objectivity that's just the issue with these conversations. Because it's like when people hear, it's just like now if, say for example, somebody was here that smoked weed and you literally said the same thing, they would take offense to it. As opposed to, we're not coming at anybody for their own decisions, bro. You can do it.
I'm just making you aware, man.
That's it.
But also, there's the whole thing with, like, the moderation thing, right? Like, if you smoke weed once in a while, you know, you're out with your buddies, you smoke weed, whatever. Like, I don't think that's going to do something terrible to you the same way. Cocaine is obviously different. Like, I don't think people should.
I've never seen a medical process that requires
once in a
cocaine,
while,
bro.
you know what I'm saying?
I've never seen.
I think if
cocaine
people are smoking weed once in a while, like, it's not like the end of the world, and you're not going to see like these huge personality changes. But again, with everything in this life, it's moderation, right? Like, niggas become sex addicts because they have sex too much. But if you're in a monogamous married relationship and you're having sex, you know, once in a while, it's not like gonna fucking ruin you, right? But yeah. Actually, well, if you're in a monogamous married committed relationship, I guess you can have sex as much as you want. Like, I don't know. I'm not married, so I wouldn't know.
Everything in moderation. You're just missing the ring, nigga. Don't act like you don't know. Shit.
Yo, marriage, you know, marrying these women is not cheap, man. It's not cheap, bro.
Yeah, you would know, buddy.
I gotta keep it a buck with you, man. When got married, just his entire wedding and everything, like, obviously I don't know how much it cost, but I saw the suit he was in. I saw the venue, this food they were serving. I said, this is not cheap, man. This is not cheap, man. So I saw the wedding dress his wife was in, the little. It was like an outdoor venue. They had a little lake in the back.
Ching ching ching.
Little lake in the background. I said, nah, bro.
We can't wait for yours, man. Don't worry. All right, guys. Before we get back to the show, we just want to ask you guys to subscribe, like, and share. We're on the way to 1K, and we'd appreciate if you guys did that for us. Let's get back to the show. We'll all be there.
You know, 27, 28, man. Let me graduate. Let me stack my bread so I can. Because let's be honest, right? I'm gonna marry this girl, God willing,
and it's recorded.
And she's
so if you don't remember that, God heard it.
It's on the camera. Show it to you.
She's gonna become a doctor, God willing. But I think just the type of person I am is I want to be able to make it so far in this life that I can take care of her. Like, she can have her own money. Yeah. She can do her own thing. You know, she want to be, you know, saving niggas' lives in the hospital and shit, you know, fine. Like, you know, whatever. But, like, I want to be able to have enough money where it's
you
like,
want to make her feel like a feminine.
Yeah, you know, take care of her. You know, take care of her, you know.
Our champion, John.
But this life is not cheap, man.
I can't lie. Especially Canada right now.
We got to make this life.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Speaking of Canada, I found, so if you look at the housing market for Canada and the United States, you'll see that they're both trending upwards. Right, like this, right? This 2008, they're both here. 2008 housing crash in America. 2008 in Canada. So we've been in this consistently rising bubble while America's gone like this, and like this. That's why our housing prices are so expensive. Someone made a video about it. I thought it was a really cool way to kind of graph it. But anyway, this life is not cheap, man. I need to stack my bread so that when I marry this girl, I can take care of her, man.
Do you have a projected age, or it has to do with your journey in life?
It's when God decides. Because, bro, as I live this life, if God decides, because you decided, you also provide. Because I'm not going to be sitting here trying to be looking for the money. If he's the one that brought her, he's also the one that's providing the money, bro.
Man.
I ain't gonna see. Yeah, God, we'll have a strong conversation. If he gives me the woman with no, bro, we'll have a strong conversation. It has to make sense.
It has to make sense for sure. It has to make sense.
It's funny. I was reading. I was actually like for my Bible study. I've been reading the Book of James. And, and there's a part of the Book of James where it just talks about how like you should never say anything in confidence, but you should really be like, if the Lord allows it, right? So
you should have your own plan. That's why He gave you free will.
Yeah,
but
you should ask.
It's also His will be done too.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly. Which is why like that's why I start saying now, like honestly, if God allows it, bro, because I cannot wake up tomorrow. I pray that I do. But if God doesn't want me to wake up tomorrow, I'm not waking up tomorrow.
Bro, you can't fight it, bro.
What am I gonna do? Get to the gates of heaven and be signing petition? Actually, I want to go back to
looking for signatures.
Like, please, Apostle Paul, Apostle Peter, can you sign? Like, no, bro.
Bro.
Yeah, man.
It's the ShoreAsks.
The ShoreAsks.
I can see you're contemplating.
No.
What a bomb to drop.
Nah, I ain't got no bombs today. I was just like, if you were, what's the most important? If you had to choose one trait, when it comes to being with a woman, in terms of like her, right? What would that trait be? One, only one.
A single trait
that you say is the most important.
That's the most important.
Or that you'd say you value highly.
That I would value highly. I think the trait would probably be communication. I think it would be communication because I think it's so important. Like you can be with someone who same ethnicity, same tribe, same religion. You know, you guys have so much in common, same interests, everything. But if you two don't speak the same language in a sense where you just can't get on the same page about things, it's not going to work out. Versus you can be very different from someone you're with. You guys dress different, talk different, look different. You might have different political affiliations. But if you two can communicate your differences, you can communicate the things you agree on, you can find commonality through communication, I think you'll go a lot further with them than someone you can't communicate with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what about you?
As a traditional man, just kidding. I would say I think it also goes for me, it like ties into like even what the Bible says about like your woman being submissive. And once again, being submissive is a neutral word, but I would say her being submissive in her femininity, and I think just that is just really important in terms of, as somebody that obviously sees relationship dynamics in marriage in a more traditional sense, obviously me, leading in my masculinity, obviously, I think that is just so important in terms of, and so is integral the word? I think integral in terms of our dynamic as a unit, right? In terms of me leading and her following me. So I would say that.
And Doctor, I know we're gonna let you answer as well, but I just wanted to chime in.
Yeah, so you're gonna let me.
sorry. Go.
I'm taking over the bar. You know what I'm saying?
Go. Sorry. What I was gonna say is I often hear guys talk about this whole like, my wife has to be submit to me and things like that.
Yeah.
And I often tell like girls who disagree with that because I don't necessarily think it's wrong that a guy might say oh, my wife has to submit to me, because I often like to remind people like, okay, well, what does the Bible say that the man has to do, right? The man has to love the wife. This is what I'm
saying. That's why I can also say that.
The rest of that passage,
love the wife
crazy,
like Christ loved the church.
Yeah.
And then people say, well, love and submit are two different things.
Yes, it is, because he died.
But then you actually have to ask, okay, what was the connotation that passage was written in? It's written in the sense where Christ submitted himself to the church, even unto death for the church. Right. So he was willing to give up his life for the church. And so That's another type of submission. And then people talk about, well, I still feel like you're asking the woman to be less than the man. But then the question you have to then ask yourself is, when Christ submitted himself unto death, that didn't make the Son less equal to the Father. The Son and the Father were still equal upon heaven. So just because the wife submits herself to the husband doesn't make the wife less than, because the Bible is also calling for men to still submit themselves to their wives. Yep. Now, the problem is the application. Men are stubborn and hard-headed. They'll quote one thing and say, yeah, I gotta listen to my wife, man, but whatever. It's like, no. You have to submit to her the same way she has to submit to you, because I think the Bible also, 2 Corinthians, husbands and wives, submit yourselves unto each other as you do to the Lord. So people love to be picking and choosing, but it's like, it's very clear. You have to submit to each other.
So many layers of the Bible where because people don't read it properly, they assume it contradicts itself, whereas most of the time it actually just explains itself. The part where it's saying submit to the wife, there's also another part that explains a prudent wife is given by the Lord. Then also it says seek God first and everything shall be added unto you. What is added? The prudent wife is what he gives you. She's added to you. And who are you seeking? You're seeking him first. So when you're submitting to him, you're submitting to everything he's also adding to you, because everything he's given to you is what he made to create. And
does the Bible not say
which is part of you, because who is also part of you? He created you, and he also created the woman. You're also part of his creation. So you're giving, bro.
Does the Bible not say he who's found a wife
finds a good thing?
Finds a good thing. And what does the Bible say about good? Good means complete. You found something that actually is complete, something that is ready,
and also completes you too.
And complete. A good woman will come. A good woman will complete.
He's getting into the spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Stop speaking in tongues, bro.
Yeah, see what's going on in the spirit.
The spirit
starts preaching on the pod, man. Look.
I'm finished. No, man. What was the question for me?
That one characteristic.
Communication. But then just so I don't sound the same, I'll say comprehension as well. Like, you really need to take time to understand me, understand yourself, and understand how we both work together to build this thing we call a relationship. Bro. Because the worst thing for anyone is someone that listens.
Should I put it back in, or should just?
Yeah. Well, I'm almost done. Someone. The worst thing you can have is someone that is that's hearing you but is not listening.
Yeah.
So you're literally just talking to a wall.
Yeah.
Very important.
It's part of that whole communication thing. Even in the listening and hearing, you still need to understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. You can be listening to me speaking French, but if you don't understand French, bro, we're going nowhere.
Yep.
We're going nowhere.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Sweetest Berry.
Brent Fayez. My Sweetest Berry is Brent Fayez. That's my nigga. No cap. I'm finna go see him soon. You know what I'm saying? If you don't listen to him, go listen to him. You feel me?
Do you have any songs that you want to shout?
I can.
I'll put it on the screen.
Okay.
Or do you just want his face next to him?
Stop. No. Once the pod blows up, we're gonna. Are you crazy? Once the pod blows up, we're gonna interview him. Right, Doxa?
That I agree with. That, amen to that.
You feel me? I'm speaking it into existence right now. We're gonna interview him, and we can talk about his discography and stuff. Can you stop? I'm gonna talk about his discography and stuff. But what's my favorite song by Brent Fayez right now? I would probably say "Stay Down" by Brent Fayez.
Is that the one you've been listening to since before the dawn of the dinosaurs?
Stop. Yeah, y'all go check him out, man. That's my Sweetest Berry.
Mine is Roa. She did her show. Concert, when was it? On her birthday, 22nd? I can't remember, but Sha.
I think it's pretty obvious who mine is.
Your wife.
Wait, I thought we were only doing the celebrity singers.
No, you do whatever you want to do.
Sweetest Berry is literally anything.
You can literally tell us a book you read that's great.
Okay. I'm gonna just keep it simple. I'm gonna just go with you guys because you guys are doing artists and celebrities. Rod Wave, man. I love his music.
Put him on.
I'm glad you didn't say Chef. What do you call him, Chef G?
He's a good artist. Don't get it twisted. He's good. But I really rock with. I really rock with Rod Wave. He has a couple bangers that I really like. there was this one song, man, that I have on my playlist that I downloaded years
From
ago.
2018?
Yeah, Poison.
Yeah, I knew it. See, I told you. This nigga has not updated his playlist since 2018.
No.
Please, Dawson, you need to talk to him, bro.
It's in my old playlist. It's in my old playlist.
No, that's your new playlist.
No, you know Spotify doesn't get rid of your playlist, so I have my old playlist. I update them every year, so it's my old one, but I still listen to it because it's a good song. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the episode's done, so you don't need to.
Anyways, guys, subscribe.
BlackerTheBerry.
Sweeter the juice.
Safe.